Hey everybody, it is Miss Sandlin here, and we are in chapter 15 of Percy Jackson and the Titan's Curse, where we last left off on Friday, I believe. Percy, Talia, not Bianca, she's missing. Percy, Talia, Zoe, and Grover have gotten has gotten a crazy ride from these like lion statue things that were a gift from Athena to Zeus at the Hoover Dam, and Percy thinks he bumped into Athena herself, which is a little surprising. And we'll just get right into it. Chapter 15 is called I Wrestle Santa's Evil Twin. Tell me when it's over, Talia said. Her eyes were shut tight. The statue was holding on to us so we couldn't fall, but still, Talia clutched his arm like it was the most important thing in this world. Remember, Talia, daughter of Zeus, has a fear of heights, bless her heart. Everything's fine, I promised. Are we very high? I looked down. Below us, a range of snowy mountains zipped by. I stretched out my foot and kicked snow off one of the peaks. Nah, I said. Not that high. We are in the Sierras, Zoe yelled. She and Grover were hanging from the arms of the other statue. I have hunted here before. At this speed, we should be in San Francisco in a few hours. Hey, Frisco, our angel said. Yo, Chuck, we could visit those guys at the Mechanics Monument again. They know how to party. Ah, man, the other angel said. I am so there. You guys have visited San Francisco? I asked. We automatons gotta have some fun once in a while, right? Our statue said. Those mechanics took us over to the De Young Museum and introduced us to these 3 marble lady statues, see, and... Hank, the other statue, Chuck, cut in. They're kids, man. Oh, right. If bronze statues could blush, I swear Hank was. Back to flying. We sped up, so I could tell the angels were really excited. The mountains fell away into hills, and then we were zipping along over farmland and towns and highways. Grover played his pipes to pass the time. Zoe got bored and started shooting arrows at random billboards as we flew by. And every time she saw a Target department store, and we passed dozens of them, she would peg the store sign with a few bullseyes at 100 miles an hour. Talia kept her eyes closed the whole way. She muttered to herself a lot, like she was praying. Hey, you did good back there, I told her. Zeus actually listened. It was hard to tell what she was thinking with her eyes closed. Maybe, she said. How did you get away from the skeletons in the generator room anyway? You said they cornered you? I told her about that weird mortal girl, Rachel Elizabeth Dare, who seemed to be able to see right through the mist. I thought Talia was going to call me crazy, but she just nodded. Hey, some mortals are like that, she said. Nobody even knows why. Suddenly, I flashed on something I'd never considered. My mom was like that. She had seen the Minotaur on Half-Blood Hill and known exactly what it was a few years ago. She hadn't been surprised at all last year when I told her my best friend Tyson was really a Cyclops. And maybe she'd known all along. No wonder she'd been so scared for me as I was growing up. She saw through the mist even better than I did. Well, that girl was annoying, I said. But I'm glad I didn't vaporize her. That would have been bad. Talia nodded. Must be nice to be a regular mortal. She said that as if she'd given it a lot of thought before. Hey, where do you guys want to land? Hank asked, waking me up from a nap. I looked down and said, Whoa. I'd seen San Francisco in pictures before, but never in real life. It was probably the most beautiful city I'd ever seen. Kind of like a smaller, cleaner Manhattan, if Manhattan had been surrounded by green hills and fog. There was a huge bay and ships, islands and sailboats, and the Golden Gate Bridge sticking up out of the fog. I felt like I should take a picture or something. Greetings from Frisco. Haven't died yet. Wish you were here. There, Zoe suggested, by the Embarcadero building. Good thinking, Chuck said. Me and Hank can blend in with those pigeons. We all looked at him. Kidding, he said. Sheesh, can't statues have a sense of humor too? and as it turned out, there wasn't much need to blend in. It was early morning, and not many people were around. We freaked out a homeless guy on the ferry dock when we landed, though. He screamed when he saw Hank and Chuck and ran off yelling something about metal angels from Mars. We said our goodbyes to the angels, who flew off to party with their statue friends. That's when I realized I had no idea what we were going to do next. We'd made it to the West Coast. Artemis was here somewhere. Annabeth, too, I hoped. But I had no idea how to find them, and tomorrow was the winter solstice. Nor did I have any clue what monster Artemis had been hunting. It was supposed to find us on this quest. It was supposed to show the trail, but it never had. Now we were stuck on the ferry dock with not much money, no friends, and no luck. After a brief discussion, we agreed that we needed to figure out just what this mysterious monster was. But how? I asked. Nereus, Grover said. I looked at him. What? Isn't that what Apollo told you to do? Find Nereus? I nodded. I'd completely forgotten my last conversation with the sun god. The old man of the sea, I remembered. I'm supposed to find him and force him to tell us what he knows? But how do I find him? Zoe made a face. Old Nereus, huh? You know him? Talia asked. My mother was a sea goddess. Yes, I know him. Unfortunately, he is never very hard to find. Just follow the smell. What do you mean? I asked. Come, she said without enthusiasm. I will show thee. I knew I was in trouble when we stopped at the Goodwill drop box. 5 minutes later, Zoe had me outfitted in a ragged flannel shirt and jeans 3 sizes too big, bright red sneakers, and a floppy rainbow hat. Oh yeah, Grover said, trying not to bust out laughing. You look completely inconspicuous now. Zoe nodded with satisfaction. A typical male vagrant. Thanks a lot, I grumbled. Why am I doing this again? I told thee to blend in. And she led the way back down to the waterfront. After a long time spent searching the docks, Zoe finally stopped in her tracks. She pointed down a pier where a bunch of homeless guys were huddled together in blankets, waiting for the soup kitchen to open for lunch. He will be down there somewhere, Zoe said. He never travels very far from the water. He likes to sun himself during the day. How do I know which one is him? Sneak up, she said. Act homeless. You will know him. He will smell different. Great. I didn't want to ask for particulars. And once I find him, grab him, she said, and hold on. He will try anything to get rid of thee. Whatever he does, do not let go. Force him to tell thee about the monster. We've got your back, Talia said. She picked something off the back of my shirt, a big clump of fuzz that came from who knows where. Ew. On second thought, I don't want your back. We'll be rooting for you, though. Grover gave me a big thumbs up. I grumbled how nice it was to have super powerful friends, and then I headed toward the dock. I pulled my hat down and stumbled like I was about to pass out, which wasn't hard, considering how tired I really was. I passed our homeless friend from the Embarcadero, who was still trying to warn the other guys about the metal angels from Mars. He didn't smell good, but he didn't smell different, so I kept walking. A couple of grimy dudes with plastic grocery bags for hats checked me out as I came closer. Beat it, kid, one of them muttered, and I moved away. They smelled pretty bad, but just regular bad. Nothing unusual. There was a lady with a bunch of plastic flamingos sticking out of a shopping cart. She glared at me like I was going to steal her birds. At the end of the pier, a guy who looked about 1,000,000 years old was passed out in a patch of sunlight. He wore pajamas and a fuzzy bathrobe that probably used to be white. He was fat with a white beard that had turned yellow, kind of like Santa Claus, if Santa had been rolled out of bed and dragged through a landfill. And his smell? As I got closer, I froze. He smelled bad, all right, but ocean bad, like hot seaweed and dead fish and brine. If the ocean had an ugly side, this guy was it. I tried not to gag as I sat down near him like I was tired. Santa opened one eye suspiciously. I could feel him staring at me, but I didn't look. I muttered something about stupid school and stupid parents, fearing that might sound reasonable, and Santa Claus went back to sleep. I tensed. I knew this was going to look strange. I didn't know how the other homeless people would react, but I jumped Santa Claus. Ah! He screamed. I meant to grab him, but he seemed to grab me instead. It was as if he'd never been asleep at all. He certainly didn't act like a weak old man. He had a grip like steel. "Help me!" he screamed as he squeezed me to death. "That's a crime!" one of the other homeless guys yelled. "Kid rolling an old man like that?" And I rolled all right, straight down the pier until my head slammed into a post. I was dazed for a second, and Nereus's grip slackened. He was making a break for it. Before he could, I regained my senses and tackled him from behind. "I don't have any money!" He tried to get up and run, but I locked my arms around his chest. His rotten fish smell was awful, but I held on. "I don't want money," I said as I fought. "I'm a half-blood. I want information." That just made him struggle harder. "Heroes, why do you always pick on me?" "Because you know everything." He growled and tried to shake him. He growled and tried to shake me off his back. It was like holding onto a roller coaster. He thrashed around, making it impossible for me to keep on my feet, but I gritted my teeth and squeezed tighter. We staggered toward the edge of the pier, and I got an idea. "Oh no," I said, "not the water." And my plan worked. Immediately, Nereus yelled in triumph and jumped off the edge. Together, we plunged into San Francisco Bay. He must have been surprised when I tightened my grip, the ocean filling me with extra strength. But Nereus had a few tricks left too. He changed shape until I was holding a sleek black eel. Or holding a sleek black seal. Whew, I'm getting tongue twisted today. I've heard people make jokes about trying to hold a greased pig, but I'm telling you, holding onto a seal in the water is a lot harder. Nereus plunged straight down, wriggling and thrashing and spiraling through the dark water. If I hadn't been Poseidon's son, there's no way I could have stayed with him. Nereus spun and expanded, turning into a killer whale, but I grabbed his dorsal fin as he burst out of the water. A whole bunch of tourists went, "Whoa!" And I managed to wave at the crowd. Yeah, we do this every day here in San Francisco, thank you. Nereus plunged into the water and turned into a slimy eel. I started to tie him into a knot when he realized what was going on and changed back to human form. "Why won't you drown?" he wailed, pummeling me with his fists. "I'm Poseidon's son," I said. "Curse that upstart, I was here first!" And finally he collapsed on the edge of the boat dock. Above us was one of those tourist piers lined with shops like a mall on water. Nereus was heaving and gasping. I was feeling great. I could have gone all day, but I didn't tell him that. I wanted him to feel like he'd put up some kind of good fight. My friends ran down the steps from the pier. "You got him," Zoe said. "You don't have to sound so amazed," I said. Nereus moaned. "Oh, wonderful. An audience for my humiliation. The normal deal, I suppose. You'll let me go if I answer your question." "I've got more than one question," I said. "Only one question per capture. That's the rule." I looked at my friends. This wasn't good. I needed to find Artemis, and I needed to figure out what the doomsday creature was. I also needed to know if Annabeth was still alive, and how to rescue her. How could I ask all that in one question? A voice inside me was screaming, "Ask about Annabeth!" And that's what I cared about most. But then I imagined what Annabeth might say. She would never forgive me if I saved her and didn't save Olympus too. Zoe would want me to ask about Artemis, but Chiron had told us the monster was even more important. I sighed. "All right, Nereus, tell me where to find this terrible monster that could bring an end to the gods, the one Artemis was hunting." The old man of the sea smiled, showing off his mossy green teeth. "Oh, that's too easy," he said evilly. "He's right there." And Nereus pointed to the water at my feet. "Where?" I said. "The deal is complete," Nereus gloated. With a pop, he turned into a goldfish and did a backflip into the sea. "You tricked me!" I yelled. "Wait," Talia's eyes widened. "What is that?" "Moo!" I looked down, and there was my friend the cow serpent, swimming next to the dock. She nudged my shoe and gave me the sad brown eyes. "Ah, Bessie," I said, "not now." "Moo!" Grover gasped. "He says his name isn't Bessie." "Wait, you can understand her? Him?" Grover nodded. It's a very old form of animal speech, but he says his name is Ophiotaurus. The Ophi what? It means serpent bull in Greek, Talia said. But what's it doing here? Moo! He says Percy is his protector, Grover announced, and he's running from the bad people. He says they're close. I was wondering how you got all of that out of a single moo. Wait, Zoe said, looking at me. You know this cow? I was feeling impatient, but I told them the whole story. Talia shook her head in disbelief. And you just forgot to mention this before. Well, yeah. It seems silly now that she said it, but things have been happening so fast. Bessie, the Ophiotaurus, seemed like kind of a minor detail. I am a fool, Zoe said suddenly. I know this story. What story? From the War of the Titans, she said. My father told me this tale thousands of years ago. This is the beast we are looking for. Bessie? I looked down at the bull serpent. But he's too cute. He couldn't destroy the world. That is how we were wrong, Zoe said. We've been anticipating a huge, dangerous monster. But the Ophiotaurus does not bring down the gods that way. He must be sacrificed. And Bessie lowed. I don't think he likes that S word, Grover said. I patted Bessie on the head, trying to calm him down. He let me scratch his ear, but he was trembling. How could anyone hurt him? I said. He's harmless. Zoe nodded. But there is power in killing innocents. Terrible power. The fates ordained a prophecy eons ago when this creature was born. They said that whoever killed the Ophiotaurus and sacrificed its entrails to fire would have the power to destroy the gods. Grover said, maybe we could avoid talking about Bessie's entrails, too. Talia stared at the cow serpent with wonder. The power to destroy the gods. How? I mean, what would happen? No one knows, Zoe said. The first time during the Titan War, the Ophiotaurus was in fact slain by a giant ally of the Titans. But thy father Zeus sent an eagle to snatch the entrails away before they could be tossed into the fire. It was a close call. Now, after 3,000 years, the Ophiotaurus is reborn. Talia sat down on the dock. She stretched out her hand, and Bessie went right to her. Talia placed her hand on his head, and Bessie shivered. Talia's expression bothered me. She almost looked hungry. Hey, we have to protect him, I told her. If Luke gets a hold of him... Luke won't hesitate, Talia muttered. The power to overthrow Olympus, that's huge. Why, yes it is, my dear, said a man's voice in a heavy French accent. And it is a power you shall unleash. The Ophiotaurus made a whimpering sound and submerged. I looked up. We'd been so busy talking, we'd allowed ourselves to be ambushed. Standing behind us, his two color eyes gleaming wickedly, was Dr. Thorne, the Manticore himself. And I will stop chapter 15 about halfway there. Whew. So who knew that sea cow was going to end up being such an important character in our story? Sacrificing Bessie means you get the power to destroy Olympus? And Dr. Thorne said Talia was going to do it, not Luke, which seems like a surprise for us. If you guys got any questions or comments or like to say anything about the story or what you think might happen next, you can say something down below. Remember to check back in with our YouTube page, and you can keep on checking Dojo and things like that for updates. We've got Zoom meetings every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at 1. And so hopefully I'll see you guys then. Bye.